Hey, Joanne here. Welcome to Blind Knitting. We are going to attempt to do a long tail cast on today. So I'm probably going to trip over my words a few times because it's different doing something that you've done for 50 or 60 years and trying to describe what you've done for 50 or 60 years. But hopefully by the end of this, and I am going to repeat it a couple times, so hopefully terminology comes into play and you'll be able to do this quickly and easily after a few tries, because like everything else, we have to keep trying, right? So you're going to take the tail of your yarn, just pull out a couple of little strips. You don't need very much because right now it's just a practice. So take some yarn that you're not too attached to, because if you make a mistake, you can pull it out. Working the yarn too many times, practicing with it too many times, is going to ruin the texture of the yarn and you'll lose a little bit of spring. Some yarn, it doesn't matter. If you're working with craft yarn, it doesn't matter. But if you want to make a sweater, you don't want to be messing around with the yarn too many times before you actually make the sweater, because it'll ruin the viability of the yarn. Okay, having said that, okay, pull a little bit of yarn out, and again, it doesn't have to be a lot, just a couple of handfuls, like stretch. Okay, let's put a foot or so. That's about it. That's all you're going to need for this. Okay, so what I do, and everybody, if you go look this up online, you're going to find on YouTube, whatever, you're going to find different ways of doing it. This is the one my mom taught me. This is the one that works for me. And everybody's got a different way. So again, you have to find out what works for you. If the single cast on that I showed you before, it works, great. I need to work on that one. That's not my favorite. Okay, take your left hand. You can put it on a surface if you like. Put your index and your thumb together and form a little, like an OK symbol. The other fingers are just kind of pointing out off into space. Lay the yarn over your left hand on the index finger and the thumb, and then take the two strands, because you have the working yarn, which is attached to the ball of yarn, and the tail of yarn, which is pointing away from you, and just hold them there with your baby finger, or both, or in the ring finger if you like to use two fingers. I vary from day to day whether I use one or two. Again, comfort level. We change every day, so you're going to be playing with this for a while. And just hold that like that for a minute, and then slowly make, because if you do it too quick, you're going to lose the yarn. So keep your fingers holding the two strands are going to adjust the tension as you pull. And then slowly open your index finger and your thumb. So you're going to have what essentially looks like the letter C pointing to the right, with a strand of yarn across the C, across the top of your top finger, your index finger, and your thumb. I hope that makes sense so far. Leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Okay, now, in order to make the first stitch, there's lots of ways to do it, but I like this one because, again, it's the easiest one for me. So I'm going to, for a moment, point my index finger and my thumb away from me. I'm going to take the needle in my right hand, and I'm going to point the tip away from me. I'm going to go underneath the yarn that's over the top of the left hand fingers, and I'm going to turn the right needle towards the left, and then I'm going to turn my left hand so it's pointing to the right, so that the finger, the tip of the left index finger and thumb are pointing to the right. Now essentially you have a stitch on your needle, and it's not anchored in, but it does work as a first stitch, because well, let's just say it works as a first stitch. We're going to hold that there for a moment. Okay, now the fun begins. And if you have to readjust at any point, I'll show you how to do that. I'm kind of doing it now, but let's get that next stitch underway. We are going to, this should be, by the way, a little bit snug in your fingers. Not too tight because you want to be able to maneuver, but this snug, always snug but never tight. Does that make sense when you're holding your yarn? Okay. Take the needle in your right hand and move it towards the base of your thumb closest to your body on what is essentially the right side of the yarn. You're going to drag the tip of the needle up your thumb between the two strands of yarn that are on your thumb, and you're going to go towards the tip of your thumb. When the needle reaches the top of your thumb, you're going to feel for that yarn. So technically you're going to have what feels like two pieces of yarn on the needle right now. You're going to swing the right needle over to your index finger on your left hand that's pointing away from you. My glasses are falling. Okay, so the tip of the right needle is touching the tip of your left index finger. You're going to drag the needle down your left index finger, grab that piece of yarn that's leading towards your baby finger, and pull the needle up just a little bit, so you've created a little bit of tension. And now it sort of feels like you've got three pieces of yarn on the needle, but that's okay. I'm just going to let that go for now. You're going to take the tip of the right needle, put it back on the tip of your left thumb, and drag it down the thumb between those two loops and out towards you. And it's going to feel a little awkward, but that's okay. When the needle comes out from between those two, rest the needle on your thumb knuckle, on the bottom thumb knuckle by the palm of your hand, and then let your thumb go. So you're going to have a big loop there. And then bring your thumb down underneath the needle and pull gently towards you with the thumb. So you're widening the space between your index finger and your thumb, which is going to pull that yarn, that stitch you just made, a little bit more snug. Okay, one sec, pause. Okay, I hope that makes sense, but now you should have 2 stitches on your needle. And this is, when you do it this way, it's actually going to create what is essentially your first row when you get into knitting. Now, if you've let go of the yarn, that's fine. So what you should have are 2 pieces of yarn coming off your right needle, and make sure the tail again is pointing away from you and the working yarn is towards you, and let them hang a little bit. Take that, put your left hand index finger and thumb together again, slide them right underneath the needle between the 2 strands of yarn that are hanging down, and then grab those 2 strands of yarn with your baby finger and your ring finger, and then pull up just a little bit. So now you have that tension going on again between your fingers. And again, mild tension. Try not to yank on it, but you do need a little bit of tension, but don't, not super loose, not too tight, because you want to be able to maneuver. That's going to be an ongoing theory, by the way, is gentle tension, but never too tight. And as a tight knitter, it's just the way it is. Everybody's got their own tension. Okay, so let's try this again. Right needle pointing up, take it closer away. Try that again. Right needle pointing away from you. Now you're going to move it back, maneuver it back so that it's touching the base of your thumb near your palm. You're going to slide it up along your thumb between the 2 pieces of yarn that's on your thumb towards the tip of your thumb on the left hand side, and then take it away from your thumb and aim towards the tip of the index finger. Run it down the index finger until you've passed that piece of yarn that's running to the baby finger. Pull up and go back to the tip of the left thumb, and then go down the thumb towards the palm again, and then pull up so you have a little bit of tension there, and then this is where the fun is. Release the thumb so that the yarn will be just, there'll be a big loop there. You can just let it go. It's not going anywhere. And then take your thumb and put it under the yarn that you just let go of, which is still your working yarn, and gently pull it towards you. Maneuver your thumb so it's towards you and going towards your body, and that will snug up the stitch on the needle. And we're going to do this again. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Now, again, let's reload our fingers. Put the working yarn away from you. I mean the tail end away from you, and the working yarn towards you. And then create that OK symbol that touch your index finger and your thumb together. Slide them between the two pieces of yarn. Grab the two pieces of yarn with your baby finger and your ring finger and hold those secure. So now you can loosen up your fingers, your finger and your thumb. Have it pointing away from you. The right needle is pointing to the left. Your finger and your thumb are pointing to the right. You're going to take the tip of the right needle and move it all the way over to your thumb on the outside, which is the side closest to you, underneath that yarn strand that is closest to you, up towards the tip of your left thumb, over, once you get through there to the tip of your left thumb, and go from the tip of your left thumb to the tip of your left finger, index finger, and you're going to slide the needle down your index finger to grab that yarn. Once you hit the bottom of your finger, swing back around towards the thumb, and you're going to aim to go towards the two pieces of yarn that are on your thumb, which is basically going down the middle of your thumb. And then you're going to go down a little bit and then pull up and away from your thumb. Your thumb is going to release that yarn. You can continue to pull up a little bit, not too tight, and then put your thumb underneath the needle, between the two strands of yarn, underneath the needle, and pull towards you a little bit. So again, you're snugging up the yarn. Okay? So when you do this, ideally, each unit, each time you create another stitch, it's going to automatically snug up, and you're not going to have to keep repositioning your hands and your fingers. And again, practice, 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 practice. Drives you crazy, but that's what we get to do. Knitting is one of those things, but honestly, once you get going, it's very therapeutic. It's very calming. It's just, for me anyway, it's very calming. But yes, there's going to be moments of frustration, because as we learn everything, there's moments of frustration. All right, one more time. So if it's worked, if I've been explaining it correctly, you should have 4 stitches there. So let's do number 5. Let's go. Fingers pointing away from you, right needle pointing away from you, up and around to the front part of your hand, the meeting part of your thumb that's pointing towards you, and then drag the needle up between the yarn to the tip of your thumb. Once it's through there from the tip of your thumb, go over to the tip of your index finger on your left hand. I have to reposition, that's too loose. Wait a second. Okay, up, over, and over to the tip of your left hand. Index finger, slide down that finger, grab the yarn that's on that finger, and pull that yarn over towards the thumb, the tip of your thumb on the left hand, and you're going to slide the needle down, tip of the needle down your thumb towards your knuckle, and then you're going to start pulling up and away with the right needle. And again, not too quickly, not too tight, just enough. And then reposition your thumb, put it under the strand and pull the yarn towards you, and now you have 5 stitches. As you get doing this, you're going to find it creates a very nice flow, and it will get going in a very easy way. But like everything else, like I said, it's a practice, 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 practice. And one thing I did, depending on the pattern that you're starting with, I think I mentioned this before, depending on the pattern that you're starting with, if you're not sure how you're knitting, start with a knitting needle that is half a size bigger than the size that you need for the pattern when you do the cast on. What that does is allows the base stitches to be a little more stretchy, a little more pliable, a little more maneuverable when you finish whatever it is you're working on. Half a size usually works. Sometimes you need a full size. But I guess that's it for now. I'm going to do one more really quick. Put your thumb and your index finger together, slide in between the two yarns, 2 strands of yarn coming off the right needle. Slowly point your fingers upward a little bit. Take the tip of the right needle over towards your left thumb on the outside of the yarn, underneath the yarn, up to the tip of your left thumb, over to the tip of your left finger, down the finger to be able to grab that yarn there, back across to the tip of the thumb, go back down the thumb towards the palm, and then slowly pull the needle up and away from you back towards the right, and so it tightens up on its own. And then use your thumb to give it a little more tension, and then your fingers will be right back in the position to do the next one. Let me know if this makes sense. Let me know if you have any trouble, and do as many practice as you can, and I will come back with a knit stitch very shortly. Take care. Bye for now. Oops.